Burnley 0, Chelsea 2. Burnley 0, Chelsea 2 at Turf Moor. First game, that result has shot us up to second place in the league, 3 points behind Arsenal. Of course, Arsenal and City haven't yet played, so that could all change. But as of right now, I'd rather have the 3 points in the bag than the game in the hand. Welcome back to Chelsea Godfather channel. Please subscribe for regular Chelsea related updates and show your boys some love. Guys, let's jump right in. Burnley 0, Chelsea 2. This wasn't a vintage Chelsea game. Obviously, there's that bit of a distraction with regards to the Barcelona game that's coming up in midweek, and it was reflected in Maresca's lineup, in which he made, I believe, he made about 4 or 5 changes from our last victory out against Wolves prior to the international break. And I have to admit, Burnley played better for the first 30 minutes. Burnley, we didn't have, control of the game. Burnley, seemed to have a bit more of, foot in the game than we did. For me, and I've mentioned this in previous videos. Playing Pedro at 10 is and then with Delap at 9, right? In theory it should work, but in reality it hasn't worked. In theory it should work, but in reality it has not worked. It has not worked, and the fact that we managed to somehow hang in there, keep a clean sheet. It's just for the simple fact that let's just keep it real, guys. Burnley did not have any threats, and they don't have any threats to test Sanchez. I don't think Sanchez had any real save to make in the whole game, and that was after 30 minutes I just realized that listen. Burnley doesn't really have any goal scoring threats. And had Palmer not gone on ahead and broken his toe, his toe bone, his toe, obviously it's not his fault, but had he been available for this type of game where there was space, Burnley actually, in fairness to Burnley, they didn't put 5 or 6 at the back. Parker, in fairness to him, he played the game the way that they normally play, and so there was space in the game, but what we were lacking was a natural 10 behind the striker. I know a lot of fans are frustrated with the lap. Even me myself, I lost a few hair follicles watching this game due to the lap. But it's not all his fault, because he doesn't have a proper 10 or a proper creator behind him. He's not the kind of player that drop into midfield and get on the ball, and he's not a Jackson type of player. He's an old school number 9. He's definitely raw. He's obviously still quite raw. So we kind of have to be patient with the lap, who after 12 games in for Chelsea, obviously he hasn't played all 12. He's been injured about more than half of the games, but he hasn't yet scored his first Premier League goal yet. And this game he didn't really do himself much favors in the other aspects of the game. He had a chance to square, I believe, Enzo, Fernandez in the second half. Just a simple, delicious square ball, one time left, footer. He didn't keep his head up. He was just off. But in any event, it just took a moment of, brilliance from Gittins, Jamie Gittins, who is slowly but surely beginning to find his foot in this Chelsea team, and he registered a very brilliant cross for an assist to Neto on the far right side, who nodded the ball back across, the goal, and it was a beautiful goal. Golazo Hermano, and it was 1-0. It was 1-0. Somehow we're up 1-0 at halftime, in as much as we didn't really have, the type of, control of a game that you would expect to see from a, Maresca team against a team like, Burnley. So we were up 1-0. Obviously, on the bench, we still had the likes of, Caicedo. We still had the likes of Esteval, and I believe, Garnacho was probably on the bench as well. But for me, we needed to drop one of our two, forwards, either Pedro or Delap. And as fate would have it, it was Delap that got dropped, I believe, around the 65th or so minute, 67 minute. But it wasn't for, right? I mean, I would have thought it was gonna be for Caicedo, but yeah, Maresca does not play according to the rules, and he went with a right back in midfield in the name of Malo Gusto, and he came in midfield, and we know what we can get from Gusto, and we know what we cannot get from Gusto, and we got basically both. We can get the energy, we're going to run, he's going to close down the gap. So all those little extra gaps that they had, that they might have been able to threaten us with, Gusto in midfield helped us to close those remaining gaps down. But what we didn't get from Gusto, which is what we knew we weren't going to get, is Caicedo's passing of the game. Caicedo's just in the intelligent running with the ball and finding his man and just creating a whole dynamic situation with regards of switching a defensive play to attacking play. And with Gusto on the ball, just if he makes the right pass, just be grateful. But in fairness to Gusto, as I mentioned, he came in, he gave us the energy, he gave us what we needed, he helped us win some balls. Even he himself almost scored his second goal of his Chelsea career game of his Chelsea career in back-to-back games, which would have been back-to-back games from a ball that he first won in midfield and then released the pass and made the underlapping run into midfield, but his strike on target was too high and it was central. So the goalie saved it. So at a point, Parker then emptied the bench, brought in our former boy, Broyan. Broha, brought in Broha, took off our other boy, Leslie Ugochukwu, and he had to go for it. They were only down 1-0. He had to go for it. There was nothing to lose, and he went for it. But the sub that then actually made the decisive sort of move for us to actually lock down this game was, Pedro went out, Guiu came in. You guys already know Guiu is all about crazy energy, crazy pressing. He's so happy to put his head down, run all day like a dog. And I don't know that whether Burnley, and plus he's very strong. He has a unique combination of brute strength, of underrated brute strength. Because when you look at him, he doesn't look too, but he's probably one of the strongest players on the field in terms of stocky. He's very, very stocky and he's fast, and he used both of those attributes to literally get himself into place. It was counter attack late in the game, I believe, like in the last minute or so, or last 1 or 2 minutes of normal time, and we played from the back. Sanchez rode his luck. I mean, this is the brand new Sanchez that thankfully doesn't pass to the other shirt. He rode his luck, and rather than hoof the ball up, he actually slid the ball through to, I believe it had to be Chaloba, and then who then released the ball to Neto. Neto, you guys already know Neto. He had two guys on him, but he used his speed to basically cut it back into the path of Enzo. Enzo then found Guiu right off the shoulder of their last man. I already knew. I knew two things were going to happen. Number one, Guiu was going to get there first, and number two, I also knew that whoever it was going to bring him down. So now I didn't know whether number three was going to happen, but thankfully number three happened, which was a world-class assist from Guiu to Enzo, and Enzo scored his fourth goal of the season. Chelsea 2, Burnley 0, game, set, and match, 3 points. Chelsea up to second place in the league. And that's where we are. So we are happy. It's onwards and upwards. Our next game is midweek against our backer in Champions League. And we're just going to keep taking this thing one day at a time. And it is what it is. How do you guys feel? Please like this video, share this video, and leave your thoughts below. God bless you guys.